everybody, this is Jay with CassidyInvestments.com with your note tidbit for the week. Note tidbit for the week has to do with rentals, mortgage notes, syndications. Which one gives you the most cash flow? Which one's the better choice? Well, it depends a lot upon what you, as an investor, what you're wanting to achieve. All of them have their strengths. They all have their weaknesses. Syndication, some of the strengths are when you're able to pool your money, you're able to do larger deals. If you have good operators as general partners, it can go very well. But at the same token, if you are a passive investor and you are the limited partner, you're also the one that's in the least or in the greatest vulnerable position to lose your money if the deal goes bad, because you're last in the capital stack in most situations. That's been a situation right now with a lot of syndications, particularly in the multifamily area. The distributions have stopped, and many have done capital calls, all right, because of things that have happened in the marketplace. And you're vulnerable in that respect. From the rental standpoint, rentals used to really give you a lot of cash flow. Part of the challenges right now is that valuations of rentals in all of residential real estate and rentals in general have increased, just like the overall market, tremendously because of the inflation that's taking place. Your operating expenses have increased roughly over the last 4 or 5 years by 60%, but your rents, although they've increased, they've not increased anyways close to the level of what your expenses have increased. And as a result, you start getting this compression impact is what you get. Rents have increased probably 20% over this over the last few years, all right? But your expenses with labor, material, taxes, insurance, all of that has just skyrocketed, and the squeeze is on in the rentals. They're not nearly, they're a lot tougher to make a great cash flow out of those than what you have in the past. Notes are kind of in that middle ground scenario, okay? The nice thing about notes is that you typically cash flow at least 2 to 3 times more net to you than what you do as a rental, because roughly whatever the gross rents are, at least half of that is typically expenses of what that gross rent is. The only expenses you have on a note is essentially the servicing company note, the servicing company that you're hiring to do, which is very minimal. The other thing is that you still have the real estate on the back end to protect you. And if something goes bad and you're investing in first lien notes, you're the first to be paid, not the last to be paid, as in a syndication scenario. Now, some will say, okay, well, I get depreciation in a rental, and that you do, okay? But understand, if you ever look to sell that rental, all right, that depreciation is all recaptured and taxed again. So it's really a wash. Also, people will say, well, I can do a 1031 and kick that down the road. And yes, you can. But the challenge at times there is that you have a limited time in which you hit that 1031. And maybe you've done 2 or 3 1031s, and all of a sudden you run into a scenario where you can't find the deal that you need to be able to match that up. Now you got to pay the taxes on all those 1031s that's caught up with you. That's a huge risk. The only way you're going to get out of ever having to pay that depreciation recapture tax is die. And that makes it a little tough for cash flow, all right, for the long term. We have just found that notes are much easier to handle. We have found as you still have the real estate to protect your interest, you're the first to get paid, and the cash flow is much greater than what it is on rentals. And not nearly the much risk as what it is as far as on a syndication as being a limited partner. So I hope you find that helpful as far as what you want to do. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just knowing the risks. All right, so hopefully you find that helpful. Just one real quick reminder, our next Note Talks with Kyle and Jay, where we talk all things notes, is scheduled for January 30th. That's the last Thursday of every month from 12 to 1 Eastern Time. You can go to our website at Cassidy Investments, CASSIDY investments.com, and you can sign up there. So with that in mind, have a fantastic rest of the day. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.